everybody. Welcome back to the Photo Gambia podcast. I'm your host, Pat Sitting. We are back here again in Raleigh, North Carolina, with another special guest by the name of Conateh, well known as Yaws of Yaws Creation. Yaws, welcome to the Photo Gambia podcast.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you so much for having me.
All right,
I want to
great.
say assalamu alaikum to everyone out there, and I'm humbled to be here with you.
All right. We are equally excited to have you. Now we're just going to go straight to it. You're going to tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, your childhood, just a little bit about it, some of the schools you've attended, and just all of that good stuff.
Right. My name is Conateh, like you said, and I am a full Gambian. I grew up in Banjul, the Gambia, born and raised in Banjul. I went to St. Joseph Experience Primary School, and that was comprehensive high school, or middle and high school. And after that, I pursued my education in England at Leeds College of Arts and Design, where I studied my fashion and decoration. And I have a brand called Yaws Creations, which is like a multifaceted business doing fashion, decoration, and event setting.
All right, that sounds awesome. Does anybody call you Yao or Konate anymore, or everything is just Yaos?
Yaws is Yawa, so yes, people still call me Yawa Conateh. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, great. So, just like you mentioned about Yao's creation, we would like you to tell us a little bit about Yao's creation, how it came about, when did it start, and where is it now?
Right. So, like I said, Yaws Creations is a multifaceted business that is focusing on the fashion. So, what we do in terms of fashion is unisex clothing. Contemporary African wear is what we do. So, what we use in terms of fabrics to do our clothing is African fabrics, African ends, woven materials, everything that's African. And we do them in unisex wear. We do from kids to adults. And also, another thing we do is interiors or decorations, but mainly doing interiors in stage setups as well and event coordinating. So that's what Yaws Creations does. It started in 2007. This was 10 years ago, and we started really small from nowhere, and it's been 10 years now. So we have our fashion house now where you come and see our products and what we do.
Sounds great. So, like with this whole fashion designing and interior designing and everything that you do, has this always been a passion since you were young? Because I've known you for a while now. We went to school together. Was this in you when you were young during those days?
I've always been creative, as you know. As you said, we went to school together, so you know how where I was coming to school.
Yes.
I've always been a creative person. Always wanted to do things that I feel like was the right thing. You know, changing things the way I wanted them to be. So yes, the art and the creativity is something that has always been to me, and it's something that I've realized after I finished my high school and went to England, because I started with doing law and IT as my dad wanted me to become a lawyer. But I never enjoyed that, and it was after the first year I realized art was the calling for me, and that's when I followed my heart and found myself in fashion and decor.
All right. And just like you said,
Yeah.
we've known each other for a while, and you've always been that different girl back in the day in school. You used to rock like one of the best hairstyles in school all the time, you know. So I remember those days. So, what made you take fashion more seriously and make a career out of it?
I feel it's my calling. I feel it's something that I was supposed to do. So how it started was after I told my dad that the law thing wasn't working out for me. It wasn't easy from the beginning because he thought I still wanted to be stubborn as I was, but it wasn't the case. It was something I felt I could express myself in and, do things that I wanted to be. So I think that's what led me into it, to be honest. And so I pursued it, and I have a diploma in fashion and also a diploma in decor. But I came after 5 years of staying in England, and I came to see my family and wanted to go back and do my BA and Masters in fashion, but it never happened. So it's quite interesting if you ask me now because I wasn't happy about it. But then again, I believe sometimes when God does things, He does them in mysterious ways. So, with that being said, I believe I was meant to be here to pave the way for the fashion industry of the Gambia, which I am very happy about. That it's something that was the main drive when I was starting, because after I found myself here that I couldn't go back and pursue what I wanted, I started doing the designs. And I started first with doing sketches and wearing them, and people really liked it, and that's what motivated me to get started. And yeah, I think I'm pleased about that.
All right. Did you get any inspiration from anybody? Were you looking up to anybody in the fashion industry, probably in the Gambia or?
Yeah, I grew up with my mom being a seamstress, and she was sewing, and she also had like fashion shows, like annual fashion shows she would do, and invite hairdressers and makeup artists and fashion designers then back in the days when we were younger. So she was my main inspiration, to be honest. And coming back and seeing what Gambia, how colorful it was, and just people looking beautiful all the time. They get dressed up, and yeah, I would say that I have few designers I've always looked up to, especially when I was in England, like Vivienne Westwood, Umusi of Senegal, and yeah, people like that. But my inspiration though comes from different things in different ways, I must say.
All right. Talking about inspiration, I've heard you describe the work that you do as Afro-Eurocentric and also making a statement. I mean, how will you explain that? What does that mean?
I feel my works are naturally me, being African, being a proud African, and being proud of what we have in Africa. So this is what drives me, because if you look around, you have so many natural things around us, and this is my main drive as well, or inspiration, if I may call it. Looking at nature itself and the things it offers is big inspiration to me as well. So I think that's what I mean when I say my African heritage is a big inspiration to me. Well, the Afro-Eurocentric comes in because I do Afro-Eurocentric, meaning my works are African inspired, but you can wear them in any part of the world. Meaning they're not only typical African wear or traditional African wear, but African wear that you can wear any part of the world, meaning you can have them in blazers, like the things I do are more European sort of, if I may call it, because they call the traditional African wear something that you can only wear in Africa and not in Europe. But hey, I guess fashion is fashion and you can wear it anywhere in the world. But I call it Afro-Eurocentric to give it that twist that, you with my designs, you can wear in any part of the world.
Most definitely. I mean, it is very gratifying, seeing somebody like you doing something big like this, and just like you were saying with this Afro-Eurocentric, uh, like those of us who stay over here and wear our African outfits is something that is really, really appreciated by the natives of this country. Anytime I wear, some of my African outfits to work, people always stop me and ask me. I even have a lady who told me that I wish you'd be
Mm.
wearing these things every day. So I think that
Wow.
we really need to appreciate, what you guys are doing. So
Yeah, definitely we should. So we're gonna link up on that then.
exactly, no worries about that. No worries about that.
Yeah,
So
great, great.
now with this whole Yaws creation, I mean, you started very young. This was 10 years ago. I'm
Mhm.
sure there were challenges, along the way. Starting a business, no, everybody knows that it's not easy. You don't start making money right away. It takes, a couple of years or so. How was the journey from the beginning to where you are now?
The journey's been ups and downs. It's been tough. It's been a really big challenge, as you said, as a young person here in the Gambia, especially. It wasn't really easy, but Alhamdulillah, we are where we are today. I believe so much in going ahead in whatever it is that one does, and that's my philosophy. So I don't take no for an answer, and I love the challenges. I think it makes me who I am today. And when we just started, it was really tough because as a young lady, believing in something and wanted to make it happen, a lot of people thought as actually just being crazy, if I may call it, because to start with, a lot of people even didn't think I was Gambian, which was so weird. And my first breakthrough actually didn't come through the fashion. It was through interior decoration
Hmm.
with a hotel called Omakan Hotel, owned by Matar Drame.
Hmm.
So by Matar is someone I've worked for before I left for England because after I finished my high school, I didn't go straight to England. I was here and I had to do some work because my dad thought I was so stubborn. So going to England early wasn't the right thing for him to do.
Hmm.
So then I worked with this insurance company where I was an insurance clerk. And coming back home, bumping into Bimata, he told me, "Hey, so you're back. Okay, so we're gonna, work again." I'm like, "No, I'm doing something totally different now." So he asked what I was doing, and I told him what I was doing. And he was like, that sounds interesting because I've got this project going on. So, then the project became interior decoration. So people get it mixed. I don't do interior design, I do interior decors. This is when the architecture finishes what he's doing and the designer comes in and does the inlay of the place, and I come and do the decoration to make it look beautiful. That's what I do.
Wow.
So he gave me the contract, or he actually put me in touch with the contractor that was doing there. So I had to give him samples and show him what I could do, and he loved it, and that's where we started working. So after finishing the project, we did an opening, or he did an opening of the hotel and invited people to come. And so that was my breakthrough into what I'm doing, because then everybody was like, wow. And then bam, it started happening for me. It was then after I got my first payment, and I bought this sewing machine and started with one tailor and started doing my sketches, and that's where the Yaws Creations was born. So doing that, I then registered my business and wanted to join the Fashion Designers Association. And of course, this was the elderly people. I was the youngest then in the industry, but that was the first challenge, and it was quite very demotivating because they wouldn't let me join. For some reason, I still don't know what, but I think it was still blessing in disguise today, looking back, because it made me put together the young fashion designers together. It was 3 years down the line that I really thought, okay, yes, you need to give up because these people are really not getting what you want, and they're not trying to understand it either. So that was when I put together the Young Fashion Designers Association, or group, if I may call it, because it wasn't read as an association, but we called ourselves a Fashion Designers Group. And until today, we have this annual event called Fashion Week in Gambia, where we have designers coming up every year. They come up with great ideas, great talent, and yeah, I'm happy about that. So that was the big challenge about the elders not letting me be part of that association, and also financial support became another challenge. It was really tough because when you go to look for loans or yeah, have fundings from institutions that were giving it out, wouldn't really trust as a young person, especially a girl in that case. So that was another tough one. Finding tailors to get committed to do what you want, as a young girl, trying to tell them what you want them to do was quite tough as well because they would look at you first as a woman or as a girl, and because I was young as well, so that was another challenge, But I think all those challenges, like I said in the beginning, makes me who I am today to be stronger and to believe more in what I am doing and want to excel more in what I'm doing. So yeah, those are the few challenges I've been through.
Wow. That's amazing. I'm not really sure how you survive all of those things, but I mean, that was
Well, I'm a
just.
Bambara girl. I've got a tough skin, like I said. So I don't take, I don't take no, I don't take turn downs. I don't take anything that comes through to me. I always block it out and just go for what I want. So I guess that's what the magic is.
Well, we're really proud of you, and just like
Thank
you were
you. Thank you.
saying, just like you were saying, we've talked to a few business people, and they all say the same story of how tough it was for them in the beginning. But just
Mhm.
because of that perseverance, that resilience, that's what got them to where they are today. So I think it was
Mhm.
very nice that you explained that in detail for people to understand that business just doesn't happen just in one day. You go from 0 to 60. It doesn't happen like that.
Mhm.
So yeah. So now if I hear you properly, um, like the way you are doing your thing and the way you started, I mean, would it be fair to call you the pioneer of Gambian fashion as we know it right now? Like us, the millennials. Were you the one who took it from the older generation to the younger folks now? Is that fair enough?
I think so because, like I said, when I was starting, I was the youngest, and I was quite rebellious. I laugh about it now because I'm thinking, why wouldn't they allow me to join the association? So, yeah, I think because I was young and my way was different from their ways. It's the older generation to the new one, and because I had the fashion background as well, so my vision was totally different from what they were doing, and they were also doing just traditional African wear, wherein I came in with a different twist. So
Hmm.
if you want to call me the pioneer of the fashion industry of the new generation, I'll say yes to that.
Well, great. I am I am really proud of you for that. So how has it evolved since then? Since you came up, like, has there been some more young girls who are coming after you now and they're doing the same thing, or
Oh yeah, there's a lot more. There's a lot more. There's both boys and girls. And like I said, with the annual fashion event we do every year,
Hmm.
which is the Fashion Weekend Gambia. I'm sure you've heard about it. It's
Yes.
doing great. We're actually looking forward to that on the 1st and 2nd of December this year. So
Hmm.
now I participate just as a designer, not as part of the organizers anymore. But it's an amazing platform where we have upcoming fashion designers every year.
Hmm.
The last year when we did it, I think we had about 24 Gambian designers.
Hmm.
So yes, it's evolving.
Wow. So so you are like some kind of elder stateswoman now. Am I right?
if you want to call it.
All right. Well, that's good. So, now that you've been doing this for the past 10 years now, it's been a decade. So you decided that you were gonna do something big for your
Mm-hmm.
10-year anniversary, and you named it Yaws at 10.
Mm-hmm.
It created a lot of buzz on social media. I mean, in the Gambia also, I'm sure a lot of people knew about it. How was the whole Yowza thing at 10 thing, and how did it go?
Um, it was a great event, if I may call it, and I had nine international designers,
Hmm.
including myself, making it 10. So I wanted to make the number significant. That's why I had 10. So my approach this time was quite different. As at the House Creations, we believe in innovation. So whenever I do events, I want to do it differently. I don't like repeating the same thing every time, and I don't like to do what people do or people have done or people have ever done. We always like to be as innovative as possible. And so like I said earlier, my main drive from the beginning has been to get the Gambian fashion industry onto the fashion map when you say fashion in the world. So that was the thing that came back to me for the Yaws at 10. I wanted to do something totally different by reaching out to my network outside the Gambia. So a lot of people didn't think it was fair. Why would I invite people outside? But that's because for the past 9 years, I've been focusing on Gambia. I've been trying to get Gambian designers. I've been trying to involve Gambian designers in everything that I do, in all the events I've done. I've never done an event just me alone. Whenever I do events, I always include the Gambian designers. So this time it was 10 years. I thought it was a big achievement and I wanted to do something totally different. So it was great. I had my partners from Holland, which was Catwalk for You. So what they do is they help promote fashion designers and models. And I also had Mahogany International, which is Nigerian based. So what they do as well is they're professionals in choreography. And yeah, it was a great show.
Wow! And one thing that was wrapped around the show also was that fashion for cancer. I mean, I know you have this SCAF Foundation, the Sanis Cancer Awareness Foundation, and
Right.
we here at the For the Gambia podcast, we are big advocates of cancer awareness, and all of those things. What can you tell us about this SCAF Foundation?
Mm-hmm. So SCARS is a cancer foundation, as you rightly said. Sani, who is my sister from the same mom and dad, our eldest in the family,
Hmm.
passed away last year from breast cancer.
Mm.
Christmas Eve last year it was, and so that's what the inspiration was all about. That's how Scarf came about because she was someone that was my confidant, someone that really believed in me, and I felt there was something missing as I was getting prepared for the event, which I started doing since last year, October. I started preparing for it. And she passed away in December, so that kind of put me off. And I said to my partners I wasn't doing it anymore because of her. And they were like, no, yeah, but that can't stop you because it's live and that's what's meant to be. And so they tried to motivate me until I said yes again. I spoke to my parents and they were like, yeah, I mean, go ahead with it. And so with that, I still felt, there was something that wasn't right. And after being um, sensible about it, if I may say,
Hmm.
and I realized it was her that was missing.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to give funds to cancer. So when I approached the doctors, unfortunately, there was nothing in terms of cancer here in the Gambia, and or there was something that was owned by the former president's wife who owned it and wouldn't let people do anything about it. And so, with that being the case, the doctors were like, well, there's nothing anymore. And it's a good thing that you want to give something, so why don't you do this? So, it was actually the doctors that, gave the idea of why don't you create a foundation? And I thought, okay, I gave a thought and I again, went back to my parents and spoke to them, and they were like, well, if you think you would be able to do it, why not? And that's how it started. So, Sani Cancer Awareness Foundation is all about raising awareness in cancer and educating people about it and making them realize it's something that they shouldn't be quiet about because it's killing a lot of Gambian people, especially women and even men, And it's a really sad case because there's nothing yet in terms of cure for cancer in the Gambia.
Wow, I mean that was a little emotional, but I'm sure that this is something that you feel strongly about. This is something that you want to see go through and have some success, and we continue to pray for Saini, for her soul to rest in peace.
Amen.
Yeah. So now, just moving forward a little bit. Now, with fashion, there's always this constant change that keeps happening. I mean, fashion is not something that is just stuck in one place. There's always this change. I'm sure you guys who are in it are always thinking about new ways to come up with new ideas, innovation and those kind of things. What does it take, for you guys to, constantly come up with these new ideas in order to, kind of put a little bit of twist into it?
I would say it takes focus, dedication, and believing in what we do.
That is really cool. So if I was to ask you now, what has been the biggest lesson that you've learned about this fashion industry since you started? What would that be?
Yes, yes. I would say it's just to follow what my dreams are. Sometimes I come up with some concepts and people are like, I don't think this can happen. And challenging myself, I make it happen. So, yeah, I think the biggest lesson would be just go for what you feel is right inside you in terms of doing what we do.
Wow,
Mm.
that's great. So now we know that with running a business, there's something that comes with it, and all successful business people or entrepreneurs, they all have this, which is time management. You have to manage your time properly in order to have any kind of success in life. And you are a busy lady, I know that. So how will you explain that? How do you kind of manage your time in order to be able to be effective in what you do with some of your employees and all of those things?
Yeah, that's a tough question to answer. Especially being out here,
Hmm.
time management is crazy because sometimes you'll go to meetings, they'll tell you to go at 10, you're there, you have to sit for 2 hours with, a business to run.
Hmm.
Or sometimes you'll come to work and your workers won't be there and, it delays customers' work. It's quite tough with time management out here. And what can I say? So we try to manage it as to our best ways we can. But yeah, it's something that's really tough here.
Uh, so what would you say is the future of Gambian fashion designing? Where do you see Gambian fashion designing going?
I see it going places, to be honest. Like I said, we have young, upcoming, talented ones that are doing amazing stuff. We have few of our colleagues that are traveling, that are showcasing on international platforms, which is like a big thing. And when you say the fashion industry, you cannot add the models into it. We have a lot of Gambian international models that are out there that are doing so well. So we're very optimistic about it, and we believe it's got a bright future if only we keep the focus and the drive that it's happening right now.
Hmm.
I think it can grow to a better stage or better platform where Gambia would be recognized when you say fashion in the world, man.
Are you guys hopeful now with this new government? You think that things will be a little bit easier now?
Yes, yes. Now that we're calling for Democrats, we feel we are more independent. We can do whatever we want in terms of the designs, and we can get to more international platforms without them having to look us the way they would, with the former regime. So
Hmm.
yes, I would say there's more hope. Hmm.
Oh, that's great. That is good. Um, I'm going to leave you here, in a few minutes, but I just want you to take me into the mind of Yaws and explain to me how your design process is. Like, where does the inspiration come from? Is it something that you see while you're walking in the streets? Is it something that you dream about? Is it something that somebody told you about? Like, what does it like? How is the like the whole process? Like, how does it go in terms of designing?
It comes in different forms and different ways. Like you said, I'll say yes to all the different things you mentioned. It comes in various ways. For me personally, this takes me back a few years ago when I had an interview here, and the interviewer was like, "So where does the inspiration comes from?" I'm like, "It varies. It depends. Sometimes I look at the sun and I have inspiration," and she laughed. She couldn't help it. She laughed out so loud. But then
Hmm.
again, last year, luckily I bumped into her and she was like, "Yo, Yaws, you know what? I think I feel what you told me a few years ago, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So she mentioned that. So yeah, my inspiration comes in various forms. Talking to people, seeing people from different places. Nature itself. Nature is a big inspiration to me. So looking at leaves or trees, talking to people, in different forms. Just waking up early in the morning and something coming into my mind. But mainly and truly, it starts with also seeing the fabrics of what collections I want to do, or when customers bring in materials and say they want me to be creative with it. And sometimes it starts like that and then it comes as, okay, if you put it into this kind of style, it will work for this kind of shape. you know
Hmm.
um, I think there's so much in terms of creativity and the way inspirations come out or about. So I can't really put it to anywhere, but I can say it varies. It comes in different forms to me.
Wow. That's awesome. I've always had a
Mhm.
lot of respect for like people who create things, because sometimes I sit down, I'm like, I'm gonna think about a song, I'm gonna write a song and I will not even write one line. I'm like, I'm gonna, design something and I will not know how to do that. So seeing people like you doing what you do, I mean, it amazes me every day, and I'll continue to pray for you and for you to have, enormous success in what you're doing. So,
Well, I will say I believe that's just not your calling. Maybe you're better with something else,
exactly,
some
exactly,
other things, because I believe everybody's here for a purpose or for a mission, and I'm sure you got your own too, that people will sit down and wonder, how does he do this?
exactly. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what is your message to the young ones out there? I'm sure there are a lot of young girls out there today, looking up to you. They're in school right now. They may be like Yaos one day. I mean,
Hmm.
like, what will you tell these little girls out there? And it can even be little boys. It doesn't have to be just girls only, because this world is
Exactly. There's male designers too,
exactly,
male artists.
yeah. So, what will be your message
Yep.
to these young kids out there looking up to you?
It's always a very easy message I always like to give them. It's just to believe in it, just to believe in whatever they want to become. It just doesn't have to be designing or being an artist, but believing in themselves and believing in what they want to do, focus on it, go for it, and the sky's the limit. I believe if I can do it, anyone can do it, to be honest.
Wow.
I don't think it's rocket science. It's just about being focused, being perseverance about it, and and just believe in it. That belief takes you to places that you would never imagine. And I believe that's what got me to where I am today. Focus, focus, focus.
So that's what it is. I mean, the key word there is belief. I mean, I've heard somebody told me one time that the mind is just like the land. Whatever you plant there, that's what comes up. You cannot plant tomato and expect corn to be out. So whatever you plant in your mind,
Yeah,
that's what comes out. So the key word there is
that's
belief.
right.
Yeah, yeah. So before I let you go, where do you see Yaws creation in the next, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now?
Wow. Okay, I can see five. So I'll tell you five. At the moment, Yes Creations is growing organically,
Hmm.
and I want to start, within the continent. I want to be known globally,
Hmm.
obviously, but probably that's going to be in the next 25 years.
Hmm.
But right now, the focus is to expand in the continent,
Hmm.
and that's what I'm looking at seeing in the next 5 years.
All right. Well, since you've done 10, I'm sure there are a lot of 10s to come.
Yes,
So I have
yes.
confidence in you that you will be around for a couple of decades to come. So
Amen. Amen. Amen.
so if anybody wants to get in contact with Yao's creation, especially those of us here, and even
Mhm.
those back home also, how do we get contact with you in order to see what you're doing or try to buy something from you?
Well, Yaws Creations is on the web,
Mm-hmm.
www.yawscreations.com,
Mm-hmm.
and also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all Yaws Creations.
Mm-hmm.
Locally, we are situated at Bullfoot
Mm-hmm.
or Burusubi Highway towards the Bullfoot after the Right Choice supermarket. Very
Mm-hmm.
easy to find. It's on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you can call us on 3777900 or 9777900.
All right. Can you repeat those numbers again?
3777900
Mm-hmm.
or 9777900.
And the website
And
is
our
Yao's.
email would be, and the
Uh,
website is www.yawscreations.com
all right. And the creations is creations with a S.
with an S, yes.
Oh, okay. And the email is.
Yeah, yawscreations at gmail.com.
All right. Well, that doesn't sound too complicated at all. So that's
No,
good.
that's all. It's all Yaw's creation.
Well, good. Before I let you go, I have some few trivia questions that I'm going to ask you here just to pick on your brain, okay?
Okay.
What does Yaos do on her leisure time? I know you're a busy woman, but sometimes I'm sure you do kind of cut loose and just try to do other things. What is it that you do on your leisure time?
Hmm. I go to the beach a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Go and let loose, as you said, do some exercise, do some meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I love to dance too, so
Right.
I go out dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And I love food, so I'm a big fan
Yes.
of going out to restaurants and having drinks and eating.
Good. I'll be coming over there, sometime soon. I would like to explore some of your restaurants over there too. I love food myself, so that's good.
Um, cool, cool. We'll take you around.
All right, good. So, if I was to ask you one gift or talent that you wish you possess that you currently do not have, what would that be?
Hmm. Wow, that's a tough one. Um,
Like, if Yaos was not a fashion designer, what would Yaos be doing?
um, I, I, I like to say I would be some form of artist, something else because I love to express myself. So I can't see me doing anything but doing something that makes me express who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So dancing is another thing that makes me express myself. Sometimes I laugh about it and tell my friends, I think if I wasn't doing this, I'll be a dancer, or maybe an actor.
Okay. I can definitely see you doing that. Wow. So last but not the least, um, who is the one person that you've never met and you would like to meet one day?
Obama.
Is it President Obama or Michelle Obama? Which one is it?
Ex-President Obama.
Oh, okay. Cool. What will you tell him?
So many things.
So many things? Okay. You will just keep that to yourself. All right.
Yes.
That's great. So before I let you go, I will just let you give your final message to the Gambians out there, to anybody that's listening. What message does Yaws have?
I would like to say to listeners out there as Gambians to be supportive, to love each other, to care for each other, and to have good intention with each other. I think that will make us get to where we want and will make us blossom to what we want, really, what our dreams are. Yeah. I think that's the message I want to send out, to love each other. That's very important, and it's hard to find, and I think it's really easy. We just have to forget about the hatred and put it aside and know it doesn't get us anywhere but behind. So if we love, we go forward.
Yeah, I would say.
So let's love each other.
I would say amen to that. Love is something that if you go the direction of love, you're not going the wrong direction. Love is always the right direction to go. So I will agree with that. So on that note, I would like to thank you very much, Yawo Conateh. I am used to calling you Yawo Conateh because we went to school together, so I'm not used to the Yaws yet. So
feel free, call me Yawo Conateh still.
So I would like to thank you, Yaws, for taking the time talking to us. We really appreciate it. I know you're a busy woman, so you taking time to talk to us today really means a lot to us, and we really, really appreciate it.
No, thank you. Pleasure's all for you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so humbled, and thank you.
Thank you, Yaws. Thanks a lot.
All right, keep doing the good job you do.